Hello. 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 Now I see at least the mic colors are moving here.
If the mic colors are moving, it should be it.
Okay, so can you hear me?
I am not on there yet.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Oh.
We have audio. This
Hello?
is fantastic.
We have audio.
Fantastic. Side eye, side eye.
Yeah.
Okay, some technical difficulties, but we are finally here 20 minutes into our scheduled time. It's okay.
Oh my gosh, man. This is our first live. Yeah. You definitely gonna need to open this up now. Guys, welcome to the Nomadic Pub, where we talk about everything travel and nomadic lifestyle.
With French fries and beer.
And some drinks, because it's, I got a whole bowl of fries here.
Yeah. So I'm drinking today the national beer in Serbia. I will not attempt to pronounce it, but it's delicious and it's very refreshing. What are you drinking today?
I have a Summersby, and it's an apple.
Okay.
I like apple. They come in actually pear, and the non-alcoholic one's a strawberry, which is one of my favorites. But cheers.
Cheers.
Por ti.
For us.
Mm.
That's
Oh,
good.
yeah. Okay.
Needed. It's
Yes.
been a little bit stressful throughout the entire day trying to set up everything for today's
To
live.
set up a live, like it's been a while since we set up a live, but the process, we have a R5, have my Canon C70, we got great
It's very
laptops.
impossible.
You think everything would just work so nice, but it didn't go that way today.
Yeah, but let's talk about us. Let us introduce ourselves because you probably are new here in our channel. My name is Maria, and I am from Spain. And I'm saying that
From which Spain?
Spain, and I'm saying that because it does relate to today's video or live stream.
Oh, that's actually true. I'm Lilas. I'm actually the American in the family. If it's not that easy to tell, I am the American in the family. Actually, the only American in the family.
You are the only American.
Both Nala and Simba are from Serbia.
Yeah. So, what are we talking about?
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Well, before we go into what are we talking about today, I think that it's important that you know that we have been digital nomads and traveling full time since 2018. We started in the US, but we have been in Europe since right before the pandemic.
Man, we've been traveling that long.
Yeah, almost 6 years now.
Doesn't even feel like it, but it's been a wonderful 6 years.
Yes, and we have learned tons of things, and that's why we created this channel to share all our mistakes and our discoveries throughout this wonderful journey. Because believe us, if we can do it,
Anybody can.
anybody can.
Anybody. Trust me, anybody can.
Yes.
But that brings us to the whole reason why we bring up this topic, because this is changing a lot how all Americans are traveling, especially myself, and the regulations that they're going to be putting against me now traveling. So it's about the new EU visa, or that visa that's coming out in 2024. And I think to understand it first, you got to know, like, what is the current situation now? And I think you'll be better explain that, Miss European.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a big thing that we need to understand because, again, it will affect the way that Americans travel today, especially if you're a digital nomad and you're trying, you travel slow and you're trying to spend as much time as you can in each place. It will not be news to you that, we can spend, or well, you guys can spend about 90 days in your Schengen area. But then you can travel to England.
Schengen area?
I'm going to talk about it. But then you can travel to another country, and it's like a visa run kind of thing. But let's talk about what is the difference between Schengen areas and EU countries, because that will change once August 2024 starts. So Schengen areas and European EU countries are 27 countries, but these countries are not the same countries. So under the Schengen, the benefit is that you have free movement throughout these 27 countries. Now, countries like Bulgaria, Romania, Cyprus, and Ireland that are part of the EU are not part of the Schengen area.
That's just confusing.
So,
wait, what do you mean by free movement? Is it just like I don't have any restrictions against me going to these countries, or?
That is correct. So you have no restrictions with the exception of those 4 countries up until August 2024,
Hmm.
or if anything else changes before that. So any American has a total of 90 days of a stay in the Schengen area in a period of 180 days. I know that's a bit complicated because everybody's like, okay, so when is my 180 days start and when does it end? But you have a total of 90 days in a period of 180 days.
Not to cut you off, but I'm enjoying all these fries.
Yeah, because I'm doing all the talk, so stop eating. But if you want to stay or want to come back to the Schengen area, you will have to step out of the Schengen area after your 90 days. Be somewhere
What
else.
you mean before? Because after 90 days, that's a penalty, isn't
Well,
it?
right on your 90 days, you
But-
spend 90 days
You're trying
outside.
to get Americans in trouble.
No. You spend 90 days outside of the Schengen area, and then you can come back. And again, Bulgaria, Romania, Cyprus, and Ireland qualify as a country to exit and escape while you're using your all the 90 days outside of the Schengen area. The European Union entitles countries like Iceland and Norway and other countries that are not part of the Schengen area.
So if I'm putting this all right, so let's say if I was in Spain, I have 90 days in Spain. After my 90 days, or at least right there on the 90th day, I need to get out of Spain and out of the EU. Well, not just the EU, the Schengen area.
Yeah. You can actually remain in the EU, but not in the Schengen area.
So it's not just about getting out of Spain, it's about getting out of the Schengen area. And once I'm outside the Schengen area, I can spend, another 180 days outside?
90 days. 90 days outside. And then your 180 days in the Schengen area will restart. And that's when you can come back.
So then you tell me I have to pick two countries that's not in the Schengen area to kind of reset my 180 days, my 90 days?
No, you can just pick one because you have to be out of the Schengen area just for 90 days.
Oh, those 180.
No, it's in a total period of 180 days. That's why it's confusing. So let's say that you enter any Schengen area country on January 1st. That means on March 30th, you need to be exiting or before that. From March 30th until June 30th, that's the extra 3 months that you must remain outside of the Schengen area. But those are part of the first 180 days of the total. It is confusing.
Let me ask a question. I got another question. Is this something that all Europeans understand fully, or is this a law that you guys just accept?
We don't have to understand it because we don't have to go through that. We as Europeans and part of the Schengen area countries, we can travel freely, free of movement, and actually free of kind of residency. I, as an Spaniard, could travel and live in Austria. The only requirement that I have is that I have to go to the police station and,
register.
Yeah, register myself, but that's it. So, August 2024, there's an entry permit, not a visa, entry permit that every American would have to fill out before traveling into Europe. I know there is a lot of articles and documents and influencers out there making like a whole drama thing about, oh my God, Europe is asking us for a visa. How dare they? It's not a visa. Did I do it right?
I don't know. Is that how Americans are? Is that how you see Americans?
Yes.
Okay.
I love you.
I know what you think of me.
So yes.
I can agree that I've seen Americans going crazy with it online, but my understanding is that that's what they call it, a visa. So I don't understand how you can say it's different than.
I love that you say that. I absolutely love it because unless you would have said that, I would have forgotten to say this. Once you enter on the Schengen area website, or even in the EU website, you will see, you go to the visa, which is not a visa, it's called ETIAS, ETIAS. And when you click on it, it says in like capital letters and this huge saying, ETIAS is not a visa. It is an entry permit. And as such, you have to just go online, fill out some information, pay some fees, and this permit will be up and running for 3 years, unless your passport, the passport that you're entering in your information, expires before that.
So
that makes sense?
Yeah, but what if that's, but again, I don't understand. Is there a difference between a visa? Like if I got to do an entry permit, I thought that's what a visa was. Like you got to go in there, you fill out paperwork, you pay some money, and then I'm allowed into the country.
No. And again, you're nailing it. It's like you're American and you know exactly what. Oh, wait, you're American. But no, this is what I come like. My whole thought process about Americans being dramatic and entitled, having an entitlement, and I know we Spanish have an entitlement as well, but no, visas are very complicated, and you and I are very privileged to have such powerful passports because we can travel. I can travel to 190 countries without a visa.
I think mine is 180 something, 84.
184, 186.
Yeah.
So a Spanish passport is way stronger than American passport.
No, it's not.
Today, we don't know how that will change in the future. But anyway, countries that have it very difficult because they need a visa to go almost everywhere is really tough. So first, you have to make an appointment with the embassy in your country. You have to fill out forms, of course, but you have to prove that you have an employment, like really serious, longevity employment, that you have, real estate, family. You have to prove that you have tons of things that will make you come back to your country, because what you have to prove when asking for a visa is that you're not going with the intention of staying in that visiting country.
Is it more like you're not going there to claim asylum or something?
And
or be a refugee?
If your country is recognized as asylum, yes, but not every country can request that either. So the visa process can include even denying. And this entry permit, the ETIAS for Americans going into Europe, will not include any denial possibility unless, and again, this is in their website, unless you're lying in the application or you have any kind of criminal record.
Okay, so
yes, please talk. I need some price.
Okay, so let's just say with the visa, this visa sounds like more like a whole background check. Like it seems like I'm going in for like a job interview or something. Now, for reference, whenever we approach, like when we've traveled and we take flights and we're traveling in the EU, she puts her passport on top of mine and just tells me, you don't talk.
Exactly.
And then
because I'm more powerful. I'm 190 countries powerful.
You know, you sound like a credit score right now. Anyway, but okay, so if it's going to be that in depth, and you're telling me that the permit is just like, hey, I'm coming. Is this like basically the question that they ask you when you get to the airport? Like, oh, what are you here for?
Yes. So it's going to be very simple. The website says that the whole filling out application, it will be anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes tops.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a big deal. You enter your personal information. I don't know exactly the exact questions that they're going to ask, but obviously name, address. They do make sure that they mention that you have to provide a valid email address. So that's a really important piece of it. And then you have to fill out information of employment and your passport and your national document number and things like that.
Just give me a second. I'm going to steal some of your mayonnaise and swirl it around with my ketchup.
So proof that we are European and American mixed couple. I'm eating my fries with mayonnaise. You can't even see it because it's white.
See that. It's white. It's so
and what are you
boring. I got my ketchup and I mixed it. See, because we mix. You see how that works? Perfect.
Whatever. So where are we?
So my thing is now, if this is all going to take place, is there like a reason for this? Has there been like a purpose to? Because how long has this been? Like, I've never done like the whole visa thing.
Of course not, because you're American and you're entitled. Because you think that everybody should open the doors to you, and the world does not work like that. I'm so sorry to tell you.
You know, you keep throwing that out there, but I just want to mention how quickly you talk about how strong your passport is, and that ours might be on a decline. You're throwing it around like so entitled and everything. Like, oh, you didn't have to deal with that. You're talking kind of crazy right now. But my thing is going back to, like, I've never had to fill out a visa. How much time do you need to kind of put, like, say if I wanted to go to a country and I need to put a visa, how much time do I need to do that? Because
anywhere from 6 to 3 months before. And
don't you mean 3 to 6 months?
Oh, you do backward.
I'm
sorry.
Time moves forward. We don't go back. I'm like, okay.
I know, but it's a countdown. So 6 months before I travel, 3 months before I travel. That's why. Anyway, 3 to 6 months, and depending on the country, sometimes even more than that. Every country has their own regulation. So I don't want to make like a false statement of everybody you should apply within this time of in advance. But something that I will never understand about visas, and I have requested visas in the past. Something that I have never understood is how you have to provide with your flight tickets. So one of the things when you go to an embassy, and this is not ETIAS, this is not the visa that if you're joining now or if you start watching from now, this is not what's going to happen for Americans that wants to come to Europe. This is for any other kind of actual visa, the ones that you have to go to the embassy for your interview with all the proof and everything. One of the proofs or one of the documents that they request is that you show your flight ticket, but you don't know if your visa is going to be approved. So if you buy your tickets, but then your visa doesn't get approved, you lose the money of the ticket.
Oh, that's not cool.
That is not cool.
Is that, we have.
And I have seen many people. We have seen people in Turkey with that particular problem.
Yeah, we have some friends in Turkey that have been struggling to get a visa for like a year and a half now. To countries to go there for work. This is work purpose. It's not like they're going for vacation or anything. Just that,
and not work like they're gonna go look for work. No, it's their company that is taking them there for a trip or something.
Yeah, like a conference and stuff. And I never knew, like, it bothers me to know that it's that difficult for some people just to go and travel somewhere.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. The privilege that we have with our passports, it's incredible. People have it really hard out there. So when we, the Westerners start this new fashion of digital nomadism and traveling and doing this, and I visited 100 and blah 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 countries. That's kind of hurtful for some people that cannot even leave their own country because they need a visa for almost every place that they want to go. But yeah, so what was the question about the visa?
No, it was just that the whole process.
So 6 to 3 months. 3 to 6 months. I'm sorry.
Keep
Sorry.
going back in time. If you have that skill, let me know. Make some changes to the conversation we're having right now. No, now, okay, so
I haven't answered one of the questions that you asked me before. So what is the reason of doing this? Yeah. The reason is because when you open the doors of your house, you don't just let strangers come in.
Oh,
you at least need to know the name of the person that is coming in, and that is the reason why this is happening.
But my thing is, it's been like that for how many years now? Like since forever. So what's the problem now?
It's not that it's the problem, but the U.S. launched their ESTA. ESTA is the same application, but happens in the US, and it is directed to many countries, including all European countries. So since 2008, European countries have to apply to this entry permit to visit the US. It works very similar to the ETIAS, so that's why we are familiar to this, because we have done it. And when I say we Europeans that have traveled to the US, obviously. So the US started 2008 doing this, and usually these kind of laws go bilateral, so both countries will take the same approach, but Europe never did anything about it. So now 2024, it is true that some of the reasons is because tourism in Europe is being like overwhelming. Every place is super crowded, and they're trying to have some control. And it's not that they're not going to let you enter the European Union, but they want to know how many people are here, what is the specific names, where they can contact them, email, and it goes more towards Homeland Security as well.
I'm starting to think, as you're telling me and explaining that, I'm starting to think it has something to do with digital nomads. Now, it may be the uptake in how many people are.
It could be influenced by that. It could perfectly be influenced by that.
My thought for that and saying that, it could be the fact that we travel slow, so when we go to a country, we stay the 3 months. If we really like the country, we're trying to stay longer, and from that point, we'll start doing a residency permit. Whew. Fries good, but to stay there longer, I think that could be a thing. Like, you got tons of people now, or millions of people coming in as digital nomads, moving into these countries, moving into space, and then obviously there's been complaints about how much the prices go up when digital nomads come into those countries.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and not every country has a digital nomad visa, right?
Right.
So many countries have digital nomad visas, and I think that there's a lot of people that is afraid to apply to these ones because they do have a price, they do have certain requirements that not every freelancer or every digital nomad is going to be able to apply to. Perfect example is Iceland. They require you to show proof of over $10,000 of earnings a month. And while there is a lot of digital nomads that do make this kind of money and even more, reality is if you're starting, this is not a viable option for you.
Right. I guess there's different countries for each level, but to the what's the one called in the US? Esta. Like esta in Spanish.
Yes, como en español. Okay. O como está en Serbian. No? Está.
Anyway, so is that process of filling that out, is that still like the same? Is that the same level of filling out your visa? Is it like you have to do that 3 to 6 months if you come to the US, or is this like
just with a few weeks before you travel, or like 2 to 3. I was thinking 2 to 1, 2 to 3. 2 to 3 weeks is more than enough. I actually just helped one of my friends who's traveling to the US, to New York, the beginning of August, actually this week. So last week, I filled out all the information for her ESTA. Now, the price of ESTA for Europeans is about $21 US. Plus, there's this new thing that it didn't exist before, or at least before I had got my residency in the US. But now that I don't have my residency in the US, I might have to do this. And it's an extra payment that you have to do when you arrive as a visitor to any American airport. And that is an extra $7 US that you have to pay so you can get your white card. It's called the I-94. And basically in that white card, your main information comes in, like your name, your passport number, and then they stamp the day that you must leave the country by.
That's how they get you.
So when you exit the US, you have to show that white card. And without that white card, sometimes they can deny the entry in the future, or they can like give you trouble leaving, and you don't want to go through that. So that's why it's important to always have your white card. But you have to pay $7 now when you arrive to any airport or entry.
So is it just like $7 like when you're coming from out of the country into an airport, or is it like, let's just say I come in from Spain to New York, and I'm like,
as a foreigner, not for Americans.
Yeah. No, I'm not me, but I'm just saying because I'm American.
Whatever.
But no, if I'm coming from Spain, if I was from Spain, I'm coming from Spain to New York. I get to New York, I have to pay $7. Let's say if I'm taking another trip from New York to Chicago, do I have to pay $7 again?
No. The white card is only in your first entry to the country, and it lasts they usually give you the 90 days that. Depending on your nationality, but Europeans will get 90 days unless there is any kind of concerns from the border control. Yeah. So $21 for the ESTA application, which is an entry application, plus the $7 once you are in the airport or in any port of entry to the US as an European or foreign citizen. For the European ETIAS, that would take effect starting August 2024. So you guys have a whole year to come to Europe without having to fill out any applications.
Unless they move it up.
No, they won't. But when that takes effect, the price will be €70, which translates today around $8. And that's it. No extra money when you...
So no extra fee.
No,
okay.
That's it.
But now, okay, so this is going to be in effect. And now when that comes into effect, does that affect the Schengen area?
Well, yes, because this entry permit would have to be filled out for 30 European countries. With the exception of Ireland, that means all the Schengen and the European Union countries, with the exception of Ireland. Now, England, the Great Britain, is not part of the European Union since they signed and they voted for that. So that is another country where you can escape for your extra 90 days before you come back to Europe.
So Britain is not part of the EU. And with that said, they're not part of the Schengen.
Correct.
So that's the only country you escape to. So outside of that, it doesn't matter about the Schengen anymore. So I can't, let's say, it won't
affect Americans. The only way that the Schengen area still matters is for for example, European citizens that are part of the Schengen countries, and we want to move to another country, we don't have to get a residency. Now, today, if I want to move to Romania, for example, because they're European Union, but they're not Schengen, I would have to go through more process to be able to live there.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, so only Britain and Ireland is the countries that can escape to. So for like now, when we do it, we go from like Spain, Italy, and all that, and we may go to Serbia, since Serbia is not in the EU.
No, Serbia's not in the EU, so
or in the Schengen. So
you can still
so you
cross
can
to
still
Serbia.
use Serbia as a way to kind of reset your time.
Yeah, but you cannot use Bulgaria anymore, even though Bulgaria is not part of the Schengen area, because we've done that.
Right.
We crossed to Bulgaria and said, we're free, right? So we cannot use Bulgaria anymore. We will have to travel all the way to Turkey, if that's the case. Or you will not be able to use Romania anymore either. But also, and this is just an asterisk in all this conversation, Bulgaria and Romania might be joining the Schengen group by January. So that will be sooner than this permit. So if that's the case, even from January, you cannot use these two countries. But then you also have Cyprus, that is not part of the Schengen. You have Ireland, that is not part of the Schengen.
So you can fly out of there to one of those countries and stay there for 30 days. 90 days. 90
days before you come back to.
Then you got to fill out the application again for whatever country you're going to go back to and go in there.
Well, remember the application, you only fill it out once every 3 months, every 3 years.
So what do you do after that if I want to go back to another?
You can reuse it because you're in the system. As long as your passport don't expire, meaning that you won't have a new number, then you're good to go.
So I'm cleared to just keep going back and forth after I pass the first thing for 3 years?
No. You don't confuse the people in the place. You fill out an application that would allow you, that application will valid for 3 years. During that period of 3 years, you're allowed to be in any European country that are part of this street for 90 days, every 180 days.
That's what I'm trying to say. So
3 years later, your application expires, then you have to apply for a new application.
So let me explain myself correctly to make sure I got this right.
Yeah, let me.
I go into Spain and I stay my 90 days. I fly out. I go to Serbia.
Okay.
And I stay in Serbia for 90 days. I may take a trip to Turkey for another 90 days. Well, that could be 180.
Okay.
Then
no, but you don't have to be 180 days outside of the Schengen area.
They start when I go in there?
Yes.
Okay, so 90 days in Serbia.
Then you can go back.
Then I can go back to any European country.
Portugal, Luxembourg.
Italy, France, all that. And I don't have to fill out that thing again?
No.
Oh, then there's no problem then.
I'm telling you, there is a lot of drama happening. And I think I want to blame the magazines on all this and influencers, because I see traveling magazines, I'm not going to say the name because it doesn't matter, but I would say almost all of them are saying, oh no, Americans need visas to go to Europe.
Here I am panicking. I'm like, oh, I got to get my EU passport real quick now. But now, it doesn't change how we travel. But I think for someone that is that may travel a little bit faster than us, any digital nomad that travel faster than us, or I don't think this even applies to like family vacations.
No, I wouldn't say. The only way that it affects you is that you have to fill out the application, but you don't have to worry about the 90/180 days. Most people don't have to worry about that. It's just if you're a digital nomad and you like to travel slow and you like to spend, 3 months. Now, if you are taking a sabbatical in the US, which is very rare, but if you do that and you want to spend, I don't know, X amount of time here in Europe, going to every single country, 3 months is not going to cut it. Europe, the European Union or the Schengen area are like vast countries with so many things to see and everything that it will not allow you to, in my personal opinion. Maybe if you spend half a day in each place, then yes, but I don't know. But yeah, in overall terms, I don't think that the 90/180 days affects a lot of people.
No, I think I'm looking at it from the perspective of how we travel. But if I think about it aspect of, let's say, another digital nomad, that this does actually play a big role for work purposes. Think about it, like if we do video, we do a lot of video work for businesses. So let's say we have a gig that we have to go do in Spain. So we have to spend our time doing all the gigs we got in Spain, and then we might do a gig in Italy or might do in Austria. But then you have to plan not to have any work in those countries for the next 90 days. So that kind of effect, especially if you're doing long-term projects like a big or a short film or any kind of long-term projects that you might have.
I mean, you have to be careful with those kind of things, because then you have to go into each individual country laws, immigration laws, because working for working for a local entity might require you to get a resident permit or something else. Like you well mentioned before, we do, right? So we have spent few months, years in Turkey, and we got our residency permit. We are in Serbia now for the second time, and we're spending more than 3 months, and we got our residency permit. So that is a little bit tricky, because you're not supposed to be working in this.
No, I'm not saying like if you. I'm just saying like things that might keep you in that country, or like work things that might keep you in that country, or even just anything like friends or family.
No, I understand.
But those things that might take up some time.
Yeah.
Like if I want to be able to, like, oh, I want to spend a month in Italy today, or I want to spend a month in Austria today, then I have to be careful, because now I can't go back to any of those countries and I can't plan anything in there. So if I want to do like in Spain, if you want to go to the fallas, I have to make sure that my time is properly set and planned before I lose the opportunity to miss out on those things.
We're actually living that experience right now. So we have plans to spend the holiday season in Spain, but we want to enjoy fallas, which is on March 19th in Spain as well, in Valencia. But because you're American, you don't have any European residency right now. If we go there, let's say December 15th, you have to be out by March 15th. And that will not allow you to see Las Fallas, the end of the Fallas on March 19th. So yes, that is a little bit complicated, and you have to really plan and pick and choose.
And I can't, and once I enter, I can't just like exit and like.
You can. You can.
Oh, well, see, that's another thing. I can exit, and then I can go back and still use the remainder of those days.
Absolutely. We can go to Europe in November, spend November and December. Then January 1st, we're out. And then we just go March 1st, and we spend from March 1st until March 30th. And that's your 90 days. Until June will be your 180. Well, May, because you enter in November.
Okay.
It sounds a little bit complicated, but once you get the hang of it.
It does not sound complicated. It is complicated.
Allah.
It is complicated. I think, but overall, I think that's if you once you understand the system, and then you kind of know how to play with it and work it. But outside of that, for us, like the way we travel, I think if you're not going to a country for a short term, like you want to go somewhere long term, then you might want to look into residency permit, or even now with so many countries coming out with these digital nomad visas, that might be the way to kind of go about things, because you can still, let's say you get a digital nomad visa, and I don't know, give me a country that has one right now.
Latvia.
Well, I mean, out here in Europe area.
That is Europe, my dear American.
It's so far though. Okay, fine. You get one in Latvia. It doesn't matter. You get one in Latvia, and you can still go and travel. Like you have a visa there, but you can still go and travel other places, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Absolutely. So the moment that you get your residency or your any kind of visa that allows you to stay more than 90 days, just like with a tourist visa, you can travel to any other country of the Schengen or the European Union.
And then you can just go back and hide in that country until that time you can go back again.
We're not encouraging any kind of this behavior.
Hide might not be the correct word, but it's the word I choose. But what I'm saying is, like, if I was in, let's say if I got my residency in Austria, I'm here now. I'm good to be here for a year, so I can still go outside of there. Play around all I want for like 3 months, and then jump back in Austria. I'm like, yeah, I'm still in Europe, so they can't touch me. I don't got a residency permit. I can't do that.
Yes, you can do that.
Yeah, see, so hide is the right word.
I don't think hide is the right word. Let's review the requirements for the ETIAS. For all Americans, you will need your passport or national document, and national document. Those numbers will go into the application, which you will have to fill in. It's only a 5 to 7 minute time or length of the application. It will cost, as of now, €7 unless they change the price. And you just need to fill out some personal information. That's all you need. You don't need photos. You don't need to provide.
You don't need photos?
No, you don't need anything because it's not a visa. It's just an entry permit. So it's very easy. Easy. With that being said, I don't know how this is going to impact the power of the American passport once August 2024 comes. The Spanish passport is number 3 in the world. We are allowed to go into 190 countries without a visa. Right now, the US is number 8.
We're number 8, and we, like I said, we have like 180 something countries we can go into. So this without a visa. But I mean, is this real? If it's not a visa, then they shouldn't remove these 184 countries.
I agree. So I don't know what the approach is going to be because, again, it's 30 countries in the US. If you take 30 countries out of 184 or 6 that you're allowed to go in without a visa, that will put you under 150 something countries that you can travel. And that will put you down all the way down to, I don't know, like number 40 or 50. Like it will not. I don't think that they will. I don't know what to say.
It depends, but yeah, because that's 30 countries are going to take all the way.
Or maybe they take the whole European Union application ETIAS as one
entity.
I don't know. I really don't know. I did research, but I couldn't find any information. So that's where we are.
Well, if they do, let's just say they take the 30 countries out. Now it's only 150 some odd countries that the U.S. can go into without without a visa. Will that still? How detrimental will the effect be for that? Would it be something that that other countries might try to take into effect? Like, okay, maybe we need to put restrictions on the American passport, or
I think, as I said at the beginning of the live stream, that depends on the relationship with the countries. It's usually a two-way street. So if, like Cuba, for example, it's a perfect example. Cuba requests everybody to request a visa.
I'm sorry, I have a nose over here.
Right.
Hello.
This is our Serbian dog.
Yes, I know. Okay. Can I finish this live? Can I?
We're about to finish, Memo.
We'll take care of this. Okay. So,
what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So it's a two-way street. Cuba is a perfect example. There's no more fries. Stop being a badass. So Cuba, yes, I'm sure. Cuba requires everybody to apply for a visa, that you actually have to do the embassy and have an interview and do all the whole thing. So the other countries request the same thing. And unfortunately, Cubans don't have a lot of free movement around the world. So
that's true. I guess it's so complicated for no reason. I don't think anybody should be discouraged or, in a sense, kind of restricted to travel. Like that's a whole topic for another live.
It's a very complicated topic as well, because there is so many things that alters everything. But I've grown up, even knowing that I have the privilege to go everywhere or almost everywhere. I grew up always thinking that the moment that we eliminate the borders, I think we will have more of more equality across the globe. Now with digital nomadism, I think that there's an opportunity where people from everywhere can find jobs everywhere. And so that makes the salary competitive better for many countries that don't make the same money as European countries or Americans. Yeah. So I think that that's all a plus, and we're going towards, a solution for people to be able to travel and to integrate in different societies. But it's hard.
You have to get to that point, that I think that right now, the way it is, the system itself is kind of, there's good and bad as it is with everything. But hopefully in the future, I mean, if putting more restrictions, I don't think it's the positive way to go. I don't think that should be the direction we go into, because at the end of the day, it's so much knowledge being taken away from people, so much understanding we're losing. And I don't want to go any deeper into that, because we can save that for another one. But what I was going to say is that American passport is still the best. It's just, until I get a European passport, the American passport is still the best, and that's what I'm standing by. Okay.
Anyway, Americans, you're still welcome to Europe.
You just gotta take off your shoes first before you can walk inside and fill out some paperwork.
And just shake your hand. That's it. That's what we're asking.
Got
Now, shake
well,
your hand.
guys, that is definitely going to do it for us. Now, if you are looking for more information about the digital nomad lifestyle or anything about travel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and I should probably stop shaking this table.
Yes, I'm trying to hold it, but you're stronger than me.
I'm shaking the table and just rocking the whole thing. And hopefully by the next live, I get my camera working properly.
So we can give you more quality in our videos. We hope this was very helpful. And again, as my lovely Lila's husband, partner in life has said, more information about Digital Nomad and life and visas and everything. So subscribe and give us a like.
Yes. See you in the next one.
Bye.